The INFJ personality remains shrouded in mystery, not only due to its rarity, but also because the people whom fall into this category tend to be vastly different from one to another. An example of this would be Adolf Hitler and Keanu Reeves. In this video, we are going to demystify the INFJ personality and see what traits they have in common, starting with the ego block of introverted intuition and extroverted feeling. Introverted intuition is like a sixth sense in knowing how to react with your environment to get a desired result. When coupled with extroverted feeling, it attempts to predict social responses. INFJs are very aware of subtle slights that other types tend to dismiss. They are not likely to react directly to the slight, but to figure out a way to point out the rude nature by turning the table.
All right, joining us now, he's a really big deal.
He's big?
I know. I'm told this. I'm not very pop culture. I'm sorry. Comedian, movie star, author, and host of the show Brand X, Russell Brand. This summer, he's embarking on his first ever worldwide comedy tour, The Messiah Complex. Katty Kay and Brian Shackman are here as well, and he already told Brian that he might want to disrobe. I'm just saying.
I just thought maybe I could loosen up a little, show a little more chest hair, and he said maybe I should do a little more.
I only think Russell can do that. You look fantastic.
Yeah. That is a very kind compliment. You also look beautiful. Brian, you are free to wear whatever you want. This is one of your freedoms that is afforded to you.
I appreciate that.
Uh-oh.
Silver boots. The boots are
I want to see them. Come on. Put them on the table.
Kinky boots time.
Oh, wow.
There are some boots.
Those are nice. Yeah, put your feet up, relax.
I wouldn't do that. I don't want to disrespect your program.
Okay, no.
You did ask to see
No, I did,
boots,
and I
you're
liked
a fellow English woman, so
and
I felt obliged.
We talked about kinky boots recently. So
yes, it's a fantastic show. You have to go. Okay, Russell. Ooh,
sorry about that.
That's all right.
You just disrespected the table.
Giant Jenga. It's like your desk is a puzzle.
It is. I'm sorry about that.
What is the solution?
I think we could try to pull it back in. So,
there you go, love. Be careful because that's a low-cut dress.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I'm only flesh and blood. I've got instincts.
Oh, okay. Well,
tell me what you need to know.
As you can see, introverted intuition is what allows Russell to know how to behave to get the correct social responses. Extroverted feeling is all about interest, and in this case, the ability to remove interest gives a clear message.
You know, it's funny though, because I travel a lot. And
all these people are at work, are they?
Yeah, they're working.
They're just at work.
Well, no.
Work more quietly!
Extroverted feeling comes out as social etiquette, and a lot of emphasis is put on manners.
Yeah. You shouldn't say he when a person is present. You should refer to the person by their name. That's basic good manners.
That is where Willie is heading.
Who is Willie? You are talking about me as if I'm not here and as if I'm an extraterrestrial.
Whole thing.
Stop saying he. I'm present. Russell. What's wrong with your manners?
You're good.
Be polite.
The superego is the aspect of reality that the world tries to suffocate you with and you tend to run away from. The INFJ has extroverted thinking and introverted sensing in their superego. We already gave you an example of the role introverted sensing function with Russell putting his foot on the table. The role function performs the same fundamental role as the dominant function, so you can't use both simultaneously. It is seen as a weakness by the individual, one that is worth addressing, yet is still unvalued. Introverted sensing is about monitoring your body's responses to things. It strives to refine its environment to make it more cozy for everyone around. The INFJ takes very little interest in making sure their environment is cozy. The INFJ PP Peter has taken this lack of interest in the environment's cozy nature and created a great series where he reviews the worst reviewed establishments in Eastern Europe.
The first thing that you notice on this island is the amount of rubbish and the smell it produces. You're literally crawling through dog feces, empty bottles, and food leftovers. And when it's sunny, it rots, and when it's raining, all these things float, and it's not the nicest of views.
As you can see, Peter is completely comfortable being in unrefined environments. INFJs also find taking care of one's own health as an unimportant chore.
I wasn't taking anti-malarials. It is not advised to take this pretty strong medication for more than 50 days because it may have some serious side effects. And since our African trip was about to take 3 months, we decided not to take anti-malarials. And now enjoy the speech of a man who literally thought he was dying several hours ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my third day in the hospital. The blood test results just came in and I don't have malaria anymore, which is great. I'm so thankful. So 3 days ago, at midnight before sleep, I kind of touched my forehead and it felt warm. I just ignored it. It was hard to fall asleep. I fell asleep at 4 a.m. and I felt kind of nauseous and dizzy. And I woke up at 5 a.m. and I thought I was having flu, but I still ignored it as it was too early to go to the hospital for me. It was still dark. 2 hours later, I was just burning. I was burning. My whole body was in extreme pain. I didn't check my temperature.
The other superego function is the vulnerable function. This function is weak, unvalued, and basically always subconscious. We tend to use it on an instinctual level only. In the case of the INFJ, their vulnerable function is extroverted thinking. They don't like to address large quantities of factual information that they are unfamiliar with, usually avoiding this type of statistical thinking that requires large mental leaps. If they do address these issues, they tend to oversimplify the topic.
Every month with an interest linked to the dollar-euro exchange rate. As his lawyer, I would like to ask if my client's contract is secured against the excessive volatility of the foreign exchange market. Yes, sir. The contract is secured with the financial derivative instruments of the highest quality. Alright, just one signature here. Thank you, sir. Enjoy your new slippers.
Just for reference, a person who is good with extroverted thinking will be able to take large amounts of factual data, quickly determine the most important aspects, then break those aspects apart and come to a conclusion. Let's take a look at someone doing just that.
What would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It's a bullshit question.
Does that mean that you can't answer it?
It's a bullshit question. It's impossible to answer.
Can you answer the question?
No, it is a trick question.
Why is it a trick question?
Because Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing would be 4 degrees before top dead center.
The exchange rate is very complicated and would require a more thorough explanation, but this is the INFJ's blind spot. Peter does oversimplify the answer, but he uses his suggestive function, extroverted sensing, to show confidence in his answer.
Yes, sir. The contract is secured with the financial derivative instruments of the highest quality.
This makes the INFJ an excellent salesman, which brings us to the super id functions. This includes extroverted sensing and introverted thinking. The super id block is seen as tasks best left for other people, yet at the same time we also enjoy support in our own use of these functions. The suggestive function, also known as the dual seeking function, is extremely complementary to our dominant function. For this reason, it is hard to become tired of it.
Spearfishing was without a doubt the most entertaining thing the island could offer to me.
It is generally underdeveloped, but we tend to be interested in developing it. In the case of the INFJ, this is extroverted sensing. The INFJ tends not to be the best athlete right off the bat, but they can improve this with time. They naturally prefer to be more indecisive and remain in their heads, but given a lack of decisiveness in their environment, they can easily take charge.
These are your trusted anchors.
Leaning.
Is that a news link? Here's your papers. I'll shuffle them for you.
Shuffle. Look.
Give us that.
That's good. Pen. You need a pen.
Okay, coming up later. Thank you very much, Kat. Okay, we're going to be talking about the situation with Edward Snowden. This whistleblower, is it good what he's done for America, or are our secrets being jeopardized by his intentions? We're going to be talking about that. Also, Bradley Manning. Is Bradley Manning an American hero, or is he compromising the safety of American troops? We care about your views here on Morning Joe. We'll be talking about those later. Here with me are Brian and Kat. Brian, nice tie. What do you think about Edward Snowden? What do you think about the situation with Snowden? Have you got anything to hide? Should we be concerned about the revelations that are occurring?
Don't forget to like this video if you are enjoying it, and subscribe for more educational entertainment like this. The other super id block function is the mobilizing function. This function values its independence, but is weak, so it does occasionally want help, just not too much help. Its main goal is to provide a foundation for the creative and demonstrative function to sit. In essence, it mobilizes those functions and allows them to work towards the end goal of supporting the dominant function. For the INFJ, this is introverted thinking, which is a very subjective, logical reasoning. It is what it is to the individual, so they tend to be rigid on how they do things. If we look at Peter's worst reviewed series, we can quickly notice his introverted thinking patterns. He starts by having an animal of some sort choose the country. Then he looks on TripAdvisor.
Let's go to TripAdvisor, open the 10 biggest German cities, tick all the restaurant categories ranked by travel ratings, and find the establishment with the absolute lowest rating.
And goes to the last page. In the background, he has an argument or some entertaining Pope in the bathwater style distraction to keep his audience entertained. He shows the audience the establishment's worst reviews in a strong Eastern European accent.
If the beds are moldy and the mattresses have urine stains and other disgusting features, basic hygiene is no longer guaranteed.
He then joins in on the dispute in his mother tongue. Everything is very structured. He has rules. He sticks to those rules. These rigid rules are what allows for their impeccable manners, such as the rule, use a person's name if they are present.
Whole thing.
Stop saying he. I'm present. Russell, what's wrong with your manners?
You're good at that.
The id block remains mostly subconscious. It is viewed as relatively easy, somewhat boring information. It is good for skill sharpening, but not worth focusing on. The demonstrative function can come in and out of consciousness in order to support the creative function. The INFJ's demonstrative function is introverted feeling, so the ability to empathize and put yourself in another person's shoes. So the INFJ is often conflicted when they must do mean things to others.
There's one thing left to do, and I really don't want to do it, but we really need to confront the owner with the fact that this is the worst reviewed accommodation in the entire Germany. And I'm not sure if it's gonna be unpleasant, but it needs to be done. Let's go. Alright, let's do this. Feels like a betrayal, because we were so friendly yesterday and...
The ignoring function is like a very powerful subconscious drive. You understand the information almost too easy, so little to no time is spent consciously contemplating it. You more just react to it without really knowing the ins and outs. For the INFJ, this is extroverted intuition, which looks at a bunch of possibilities. You can see it is being used when the NI-DOM person does something completely abstract or something everyone else would advise against, yet it works out exactly the way they wanted. A perfect example is Russell moving the table to show Mika how it feels to point out their exposed chest.
I'm just saying.
I just thought maybe I could loosen up a little, show a little more chest hair, and he said maybe I should do a little more.
I only think Russell can do that. It's a fantastic show. You have to go. Okay, Russell. Ooh,
sorry about that.
That's all right.
You just disrespected the table.
The table
giant Jenga. It's like your desk is a puzzle.
It is. I'm sorry about that.
What is the solution?
I think we could try to pull it back in. So,
there you go, love. Be careful, because that's a low-cut dress.
In conclusion, the INFJ is a particularly charismatic personality whom has a talent for rallying people behind themselves or a cause. They are extremely relatable because they consistently attempt to mirror the people they are around. This makes them personally relate to a lot of the ways of thinking. This, to me, explains the low percentage percentage of INFJ results in the MBTI test. They relate to a lot of different ways of being, so they will test out as other types. One of the personality types most mistyped to INFJ is the INFp. To learn more about the INFp, click here. And until next time, mahalo.